And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great program today. Call with your questions at 888 Car Clinic. With us on the hotline now is George Hyland, Cardone Product Director for the Brakes Division. George has been part of the Cardone team for 18 years, and his roles include Research and Development Manager and Engineering and Quality Manager. This gentleman, folks, knows a lot about brakes on your automobile. George, I want to welcome you to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house.
Hey, thanks for having me, Bobby. Good to be here.
I would like right off for you to share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers first about what calipers do in a vehicle braking system. That may seem obvious to you, but to some, not so.
Yeah, well, basically what a caliper does is as a vehicle goes down the road, of course, all the onlookers know what the wheels do, okay? The wheels are turning underneath the car, but what's going on there behind the wheel, there's a disc, a heavy metal disc called a rotor. And basically what the caliper does is it squeezes that rotor to slow down and then eventually stop the car. So the caliper is basically a hydraulic unit. And what happens is when you put your foot on the brake pedal, the master cylinder on the vehicle pushes fluid down into the caliper, and it activates the pistons that actually squeeze that rotor. So basically what it's doing is nothing more but grabbing the wheels to slow them down.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that preliminary kickoff. Give us an overview of the Ultra Premium Cardone caliper.
Sure. The Ultra Premium caliper is a line of calipers that Cardone has introduced to answer the need that vehicle owners have to make sure their vehicle continues to look great. So what we've seen, especially the last 10 years, is growing use of premium wheels on vehicles from the factory. In fact, today, about 75 to 80% of the vehicles that leave a new dealer lot shipped from the factory with premium wheels. And by premium wheels, I mean a high-end wheel where you can look between the spokes and basically see the rotor and the caliper. So the way the caliper looks to the vehicle owner is just as important as how it functions.
Well, this coating that is applied to the caliper, the Ultra Premium caliper, to make it look good, does that improve the performance, or is that for visual only? And what about the warranty on that unit?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the warranty. The warranty we offer is a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Wow.
And that, by way of comparison, our regular A1 caliper, we offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty. So we're pretty confident in the finish we put on that caliper that it'll function great and look great for many years. Now, as far as performance enhancement, we wouldn't be in the caliper business if we didn't put calipers out there that stop a car and work great regardless of whether or not it's a premium caliper or not. So the Ultra line is not so much going to change the way your vehicle stops. It's like all of our calipers. It'll function like a brand new caliper did from the factory. However, as far as longevity goes, we believe, if you can stop rust from starting and then spreading, you can stop premature failure, because eventually as the rust spreads, there's always a chance it'll get into where the caliper bracket slides or where the pads slide. And once you get corrosion in there, the caliper could seize. But I would have to say the number one benefit of the Ultra caliper is the way it looks out of the box. That's the way it'll look on your vehicle for years. And again, with the premium wheels, everybody can see your caliper. So it'll keep your car looking great.
George, how many vehicle models are actually covered by the current Cardone Ultra caliper line, and how far back in model years does the coverage go?
Yeah, the program covers about 85% of the vehicles on the road, so that's probably about, do some quick math, maybe about 170 million vehicles are covered by the Ultra line. The main focus of the program is 2000 and later. However, when you look at our catalog, you'll see a lot of 70s and 80s applications in there, because we still sell a lot of calipers from the 70s and 80s. So we wanted to throw them in so we weren't missing any coverage. But the main focus and benefit is going to be on the later model vehicles where you can see the caliper right through the wheel.
We're talking with George Hyland, Cardone Product Director for the Brakes Division. George, I understand that the new Ultra Premium caliper is powder-coated. I know it's beautiful. I actually have one. We've installed them at Car Clinic Service. Share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers just a bit of technical. Has the fit been affected by the paint or the addition to the paint on the caliper itself?
No, the caliper will fit and function just like the unit that you took off the car. So it'll fit just like the caliper on your vehicle the day your vehicle left the factory. Now, obviously, the concern is whenever you put a coating on something, is the coating going to affect performance and get where you don't want it to go? We are very careful here in the plant. Our operations team does a phenomenal job. All the critical areas get masked. Okay, you don't want any coating getting into the piston bore. You don't want the coating getting into the port or the bleeder valve port. So all those areas get masked, and all the critical dimensions where the bracket and pads need to be able to slide back and forth, none of them are affected by this coating. Everything will be at the proper specification.
Let's shift gears and talk about, you mentioned, of course, the extended warranty, which is phenomenal for a brake caliper, folks. That really is, with the 10 years, 100,000 miles. But let's talk or explain to us the testing that went into this unit as compared to standard out-of-the-box calipers.
Well, every caliper that we remanufacture here at Cardone is tested before it leaves the plant. So we test everything we do at several points in the remanufacturing process to make sure it's going to function just like a brand new caliper would function. As far as the coating, we have done some testing where we compare our leading competitors' reman calipers as well as our own, and as far as our A1 line goes, and we've put them in a humidity chamber. And what we found is that the standard remanufactured caliper in the industry will develop significant surface rust after 100 hours in a humidity chamber, where the Ultra caliper is virtually untouched by any corrosion whatsoever. So, and that's why we feel confident about that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Not only will it continue to function, it'll look like it did when it came out of the box.
Talk about the humidity chamber, George. Were there any chemicals added to the test fluid used during the test time with the Ultra Premium caliper from Cardone?
We have a test we're working on where we add some chemicals. We don't have those results yet, but we did add some chemicals like a saline solution that would emulate some of the chemicals used on the road to melt ice. The testing we did and the marketing piece we have out today is just simply moisture, the effect of moisture on bare metal.
Well, that's amazing, because I've seen that video, and the other competitors turned completely to rust, and the Cardone looked just like it came out of the box. I want to shift gears one more time while I have you. Do all the premium calipers come loaded, and what about the hardware? That's one of the minor points in a brake operation or in a service shop that so many service shops just don't understand the hardware and the replacement of the hardware. So how does the Ultra Premium caliper come out of the box?
Yeah, what our operations team does is they include all the hardware that was included on the original caliper when the car left the factory. So all the pad hardware, the bracket hardware. If it's a rear caliper, it's got the spring for the lever arm for the emergency brake. Everything included on the original caliper is included on the Ultra caliper. The mounting bracket, if required, is with the caliper. Everything is properly lubricated here in our factory. Now, over the years, a loaded caliper has meant brake pads included. What we've seen the last 10 years or so is installers have a very strong opinion about the brake pad they want to use when they do a job. So what we're doing with the Ultra caliper, we're putting everything in the box that they will need to do the job right, but they are going to ultimately pick their own brake pads. So we're not putting brake pads in these. These are what's called a semi-loaded caliper, where you get all the hardware and the bracket. We're also putting a banjo bolt in the Ultra caliper just to ensure that the installer doesn't need to reuse the banjo bolt, and that also ensures that the threads are in great shape and the right banjo bolt's included with the caliper.
Well, that's a phenomenal piece of equipment, and certainly hats off to Cardone for creating the Ultra Premium caliper line. I guess, George, my final question is, and I know the answer to this, but for those shop owners out there that may not, and for our Car Clinic listeners and viewers, where can they locate the new Cardone Ultra Premium calipers?
Yeah, well, the program's certainly gaining traction across the country, and we have a website, Cardone.com, and you can go to our website, learn a lot about our products. There's a where to buy link. There's also an Ultra Caliper link. So if somebody wants to know where to buy an Ultra Caliper, they can go to our website, and it'll direct them to their local parts supplier that has Ultra Calipers.
George Hyland, Cardone Product Director for the Brakes Division. George, we'll have to stop now, no pun intended. George, thanks so much for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great job, beautiful product. Hats off to you and your teammates, sir.
All right, thanks for having me.